consistently made tremendous defensive plays while playing second base. If it wasn't a screaming line drive 3 feet over his head, he was diving and making that stop. He played every sport growing up. And when not in a structured environment, he took those activities to his backyard. And he was joined with his neighbors and his Little League teammates, George Dunn and Richie Dunn, and his brother Chip. And they did the best they could to turning Sue and Kurt Lemkau's pristine backyard into a dirt multi-field for all sports. And they succeeded. Whether it was wiffle ball, keep away, soccer, football, whatever it was, it didn't matter as long as Gregg could dive to save the play. Naturally, soccer, and especially the position of goalie, was a natural fit. George Dunn would challenge Gregg with kicks, booming kicks, high kicks, soft kicks, touch kicks. This went on for years until the boys were ready for the next level of competition. Gregg developed those skills, and he went on to travel teams. And whatever team he was involved in, he made it an elite team because of his great abilities and his hard work. Playing against the best travel teams in the area, he thrived in stopping the best players' shots. Many that went on to Division I colleges and ranked colleges for soccer. Prepared well, he stepped into the Milburn varsity goalie position as a sophomore. He was part of 3 extremely good state caliber teams. In 1986, his senior year, the team, knowing the individual protecting the goal was so skilled, the Millers could afford to play a more open and aggressive style. During that season, the team won 24 straight games. At the time, it was the state's longest winning streak. And most importantly, they finished that terrific season as state champions, tied with Delran. Gregg was selected first team all-conference, all-county, and all-state. But I think what impressed me the most when I researched Gregg was the fact that you have to remember, as coaches, we all know that statistics are skewed. Oftentimes it's who you're playing against. People can come in with very big records and not playing tough competition. But when you consider that these teams were state-ranked teams, they're playing the best in the state. His senior year, he let up 7 goals in 30-plus games. Phenomenal, phenomenal. Gregg, that backyard prepared you well. He went on to Dartmouth. He played 4 years there. He was part of 2 Ivy League championships, and he was chosen captain his senior year while the team ended with a national ranking of 7th. Oh, by the way, the guy shooting those goals in the backyard, he went on to Duke, captain 2 national championship teams, George Dunn. And by the way, how lucky was that Little League coach to have Gregg Lemkau as his second baseman, George Dunn as his shortstop. The guy thought he was a good coach. He realized years later he had a great group. He should have won. Gregg has taken his game on to Goldman Sachs. He keeps his uniform a lot cleaner, but he continues to do what he does best. Gregg Lemkau.
Thanks, John. And thanks, Dr. Gillespie and Dr. Myron, and thank you to the committee. It is truly an honor to be inducted into the Milburn High School Athletic Hall of Fame, and even more so alongside my fellow inductees, which I've enjoyed getting to know about this afternoon. It's a privilege to be part of this group. It's particularly special to be introduced by John Serruto. As he implied, he was my Little League baseball coach for the Cardinals. 1981 Major League champs, by the way, I might add. So it wasn't good coaching going on. I had the chance to connect with John this week ahead of the event, and we'd probably crossed paths a handful of times over the past 35 years. But our exchange this week demonstrates the unique and enduring bond that a player-coach relationship has. I asked John, I said, what's the dress code for this thing? Is it casual? Is it business? Is it tie? Is it no tie? And he said, well, listen, some are going to wear a coat, some are going to wear a tie, some are going to be casual, but you're a Cardinal and you're going to wear a coat and tie. So still taking instruction. I'd like to thank 3 groups of people without whom I would not be here. Firstly, my coaches, then my teammates, and then most importantly, my family. I was blessed with some incredible coaches over the course of my athletic career. And John was the first of those, and he had a lasting impact on me. I was rummaging through some scrapbooks and some trophies ahead of this event taken from my parents' basement. I came across what was always my favorite trophy, and it was simple. It was Cardinals 1981 Most Dedicated. And you might ask, what kind of 12-year-old kid wants to win Most Dedicated? And I think the better question is, what kind of 28-year-old Little League coach thinks to actually have that award? And this was, in the days before everybody gets a trophy and participation trophies. We had 2 trophies on the team. It was MVP and Most Dedicated. And I was never good enough at baseball to win the MVP. That was pretty obvious. But damn it if I wasn't going to win that Most Dedicated. That was the first one I practiced, the last one to leave. I'd have him hit me ground balls all day long so I could go diving around. And only later in life did I recognize the true genius of Coach Serruto in setting up this award. Not everybody had a shot at the MVP, but everyone on that team had a shot to work their hardest to be the best that they could be and make the best team that they could have. And so thank you, Coach. You really instilled a work ethic in me that lasted well beyond Little League. And my good fortune continued with coaching after Little League. I had a guy named Rick Jacobs, who was my club soccer coach from 7th grade all the way through college, who's recognized, I think, as one of the best youth soccer coaches of all time, not just in New Jersey. Pete Snyder was my Melbourne High School coach and took us to the state final my junior and senior years. And I think if those of you who know, Mr. Snyder was the epitome of tough but fair. And then I got really lucky in college to play for a guy named Bobby Clark, who coached us to a couple of Ivy League championships and to the final 8 in the country, and has subsequently gone on to win national championships at Notre Dame and is recognized as probably the finest college soccer coach in the country over the past 25 years. So I'd like to thank each of these men who really shaped my life and are educators in the truest sense of the word. And I'd like to thank my teammates on the Milburn soccer team, guys like Steve Bailey and Danny Johns and Eric Weiss and Kevin Lowe and Pete Snyder. That 1986 season that John referenced was truly magical. We lost our opening game to Del Barton 1-0, and I always hated those kids from Del Barton. And then we went on to win 24 in a row, including incredible wins over St. Benedict's and over Columbia, and we ended up tying the state final to win the state championship. But if you look at that team, we had no superstar, we had no egos. It was just a bunch of friends having fun, and I really credit this school and this community for creating the kind of environment that allowed a team like that to thrive. And then I'd like to thank my parents. My father passed away almost 3 years ago, and he would love this for an event he would have quite enjoyed. I was never half the athlete he was. The guy earned 12 varsity letters at Madison High School, but his support for me, you would have thought that I had done that. His support was nonstop, and it was incredible. And then there's my mother, whose support was sort of equally important and probably a little bit more vocal. Running on the field if I got injured, writing letters to my coach if I wasn't starting. She was quite involved and all well-intentioned, I think. But really, thank you for your love and support. You guys made it easy for me to be able to be successful. And then finally, I'd like to thank my wife, Kate, and my 4 kids who are here today for enduring this trip down memory lane with their dad. But I hope as parents that we're able to give you guys the support that you need to be able to enjoy sports. And most importantly, I hope that you all encounter coaches of the caliber and the character that I did to teach you the life lessons that you can only learn from athletics. And I'd like to again thank the committee, congrats to my fellow nominees, and thank you all.